Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. A few weeks back we looked at some remarkable old hammered coins, and you guys really seemed to like looking at those coins. The overall feeling was that those coins were a little bit out of most people's price brackets, so I thought we'd look today at some lower value, entry level hammered coins. We see a large amount of inexpensive, lower grade hammered coins, mainly from metal detectorists. Now, due to time restraints, we go through a basic identification process without going too deep into the variants and subclasses. This gives a real opportunity for potential buyers to dig a bit deeper into the identification process and snag themselves a really good deal from us. These lower value hammered silver coins are available on our eBay listings, and there'll be links down in the description to some of the coins that we're showing you today and also our wider hammered coin range offer. I've got 6 hammered coins to show you, so let's get a start on this. Our first coin is an Elizabeth I half groat, minted during her reign of 1558 to 1603. A groat is a coin with the value of 4 pence. On the obverse, or head side of the coin, you can see the portrait of Queen Elizabeth I. You can see at the very top of this coin, just after the letter A, mint mark that looks like an oval with 4 dots at each corner, if ovals had corners. This is the Woolpack mint mark, which is key to figuring out when this coin dates from. This is not an exact science, as there were times when the old dies were being used up. The legend around the coin is in Latin and translates as Elizabeth by the grace of God, a rose without a thorn. On the reverse or tail side, you can see a quartered shield of arms. The lettering around the coin translates as City of London, which is where this coin was minted. Queen Elizabeth is one of 8 reigning queens, and if you can name the other 7, I would be impressed. She reigned for almost 45 years, having succeeded the throne following the death of her half-sister Mary. Oh no, I've given you help with one of the other queens there. Her father was King Henry VIII and her mother Anne Boleyn, who was executed when Elizabeth was only 2.5 years old. I'm not sure how I would feel if my father had my mother executed, if I'm honest. Although she had many suitors vying for her hand in marriage, including one Robert Dudley, it was said that the Queen was most interested in marrying him, and it's widely suspected that he pushed his own sick wife down the stairs to clear his way to marry the Queen. She never did marry and had no children of her own. She became known as the Virgin Queen, and this tied her image to that of the Virgin Mary in the eyes of her subjects. She later asserted that she was married to her kingdom and subjects under divine protection. Not bearing an heir of her own and unwilling to name a successor, plans for her death were made in secret, unknown to her, and in 1625 James I, or James VI of Scotland, became the king following her death, uniting the English and Scottish crowns. Our second coin takes us to the reign of Edward I from 1272 to 1307. This is a silver hammered farthing. On the obverse we see the portrait of Edward I, who is crowned. Interestingly, there are many variations of this particular coin, which, as I've said, gives the buyer some further history to explore themselves. The reverse features a long cross with pellets in angles. The legend around the coin translates as London, which is where this coin would have been minted, up to 750 years ago, which makes this a really fascinating piece of history that you can hold. We're going to stay with Edward I. Next up we have this half penny, struck between 1272 and 1307 during the reign of Edward I. On the obverse you can see the portrait of Edward I surrounded by text which translates as Edward, King of England, Lord of Ireland. The reverse features a cross pate with pellets in angles, and again a legend that translates as City of London. The LON of London is a little bit worn away, but the rest of the text is remarkably clear for a coin that is around 750 years old. King Edward reigned from 1272 to 1307 following the death of his father King Henry III, whilst Edward was in the Holy Land on crusade. His reign is noted for his reforms of royal administration and common law, and his early reign focused on quelling minor rebellions, and after a successful campaign subjected the Welsh to English rule. His eyes then turned to Scotland, which was in the midst of a succession dispute which he was to arbitrate. But, as a power-hungry king might do, he attempted to claim it for himself. The following war would continue on after his death. This war would put great financial demand on his subjects, with taxes being levied and goods being appropriated. This fermented into a serious political resistance to the king in the latter part of his reign. Having felt that he had successfully conquered Scotland, resistance continued to grow, leading to the surprise of Robert the Bruce's campaign for Scottish independence. On his way north to support his forces, King Edward died, to be succeeded by his son Edward II. Our fourth coin takes us back again to the reign of Elizabeth I, and is a half-groat struck between 1590 and 1572. The obverse again features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth I. This time it's a bit clearer than our first coin. The text translates the same as the first coin we looked at: Elizabeth, by the grace of God, arose without a thorn. This time, if we take a look at the top of the coin, it's a different mint mark. This time we can see a hand. On the reverse we can see another quartered shield with the wording City of London around the design. Our penultimate coin comes from between 1604 and 1619 and is a James I half-groat. On the obverse we don't have a portrait of the monarch, but instead a crowned rose. Around the design features the text which translates as James, by the grace of God, arose without thorns. On the reverse the design is a crowned thistle, although some of the thistle has been lost to time, which again, considering the coin is over 400 years old, isn't really surprising. The mint mark is present to the top right of the crowned thistle, and on this coin is a rose. James I of England, or 6th of Scotland, was, as we mentioned earlier, the successor to Queen Elizabeth I, and he was the son of Mary, Queen of Scots, who was tried and executed by the Queen that he succeeded to the throne of. Chosen for his lineage to the English throne, but also to unite the crowns of England and Scotland to create a long-lasting peace between these previously warring nations. Travelling south to be crowned, he was amazed by the wealth of his new kingdom, and was lavished by lords as he travelled, and is quoted as having said that he had swapped a stony couch for a deep feather bed. He was joyously received in London, having enabled a smooth transition of power, where in the past succession disputes had led to war and invasion. His reign is noted for the gunpowder plot by Guy Fawkes to kill the king, but also for his sponsorship of the King James Bible, noted as one of the most important books in English culture. Created to soothe religious disputes in his kingdom, which had long been fanned by monarchs such as his mother and that of the Queen Elizabeth I. King James was succeeded to the throne by his son Charles I in 1625, after which the monarchy would go through one of the most troublesome times of the English Civil War. The final coin we are looking at today is this silver penny, minted between 1272 and 1307, another from the reign of Edward I. We can see his portrait on the obverse, again surrounded by text translating as Edward, King of England, Lord of Ireland. The reverse features a long cross moline, pellets in angles, with the mint name around the design, which on this coin is Canterbury. Well, there we go, a whole range of really interesting and varied hammered silver coins, some real pieces of history, and they're affordable, starting with prices from £25. As I said earlier in the video, there'll be links down in the description to these product listings and also our wider hammered coin range on eBay. With some amazing deals to be had, now's a great time to go have a look at our product listings over on eBay as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, having a look at some more affordable entry-level hammered coinage that's available to you. Do let me know down in the comments which is your favourite of these 6 coins and why that is. And if you're interested in seeing more hammered coin videos, do let me know what more you want to see. As ever, you can follow the Britannia Coin Company on Instagram and Facebook, where we post lots of images of our products. We're on Twitter and TikTok. We've got our shop on online store you can check out. And I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.